The 805 Focus is brought to you in part by Nonprofit Connect. Nonprofit Connect provides superior leadership tools and resources so nonprofit leaders and board members can make valuable decisions to move their organization forward to a sustainable and vibrant future. More information on services online at nonprofitconnect.org.
Welcome to 805 Focus. I'm Dr. Cinder Sinclair with Nonprofit Connect, and we will be bringing you the latest on your favorite nonprofits. So get ready to be inspired. Our special guest today is Ed France, and Ed is Executive Director of Leading from Within. Welcome, Ed.
Thank you, Cinder.
Oh gosh, I'm so glad you're here.
Yeah, it's such a pleasure to be with you. And by the way, congratulations on your book, My Wild and Precious Life.
Oh, thank you.
I love actually hearing friends who've read it.
Oh, really?
And recounting some of the stories that I know both from talking from you and the book itself. And it's, it's a great share to the community.
Oh, thanks. I appreciate that. It was my COVID achievement. I wrote it right in the middle of COVID. I mean, what else are you going to do?
Way to make lemonade out of lemons.
Yes, well, thank you for that. So now, Ed, Leading from Within, I'm really interested to hear what's going on these days, how you're recruiting for people. I just read the other day that you're now recruiting now that, the pandemic is
subsiding.
Maybe not behind us, but, subsided,
Yep.
That's a good word. So tell us about Leading from Within.
Sure. So stepping back just a bit, you and I are actually both alumni of
Yes,
one
we
of
are.
one of the programs that's called Courage to Lead.
Yes.
The organization that I'm really proud to now work for. And what Leading from Within does is invests in people who drive and create change. Like you said.
Invest in people who drive and create change. That's fabulous. Sorry to interrupt. I just love that.
Right, and the thing is that nonprofits and also government social services and people who are involved in civic life, what we call the social sector, this is an area that tends not to have a lot of investment in professional development, in leadership development, and helping cultivate people for succession, and supporting people from burnout. And that's the purpose of Leading from Within.
Yeah, that burnout is it happens so often in that sector because people just jump in with their passion and they give it their all in, and pretty soon they're kind of running out of steam.
Right? I mean, we get into social, environmental, economic justice, whatever of this type of work, we get into it because we care.
Yes.
And that passion, just like you say, that allows us to overdo it sometimes, to neglect taking care of ourselves as we seek to take care of others.
Yeah.
And especially for seasoned social sector leaders, you can hit a wall.
Yeah.
Right? If you're running a marathon, and you're hitting mile 20,
Yeah.
you know this, right?
Yeah.
And you haven't been taking care of yourself, you're not going to be able to finish the race.
Yeah.
And so part of this work is really just to help people's sustainability, in their own leadership, and to sustain their organizations and ultimately their contribution to the community.
Because a lot of these kind of folks aren't used to taking care of themselves, putting themselves first, not even used to thinking about that.
Absolutely. And the classic adage, right, of when you're on an airplane, which some of us are starting to be again, and they're going through the safety announcement, you have to put on the oxygen mask first.
Yeah.
You can't help anyone
Yes.
if you're not in a position to do that. And that's really important. And especially when you think of being of service to the community broadly, being of service to your team members and everyone that you're engaging with, being your best, being at your best,
Yeah.
investing in yourself and having support to invest in yourself. It's pretty crucial for how positive of an impact that you can make.
Yeah.
And so this is something that is really a gift to be able to work on through Leading from Within and through our programs and through our alumni communities.
You know, I listened to you say that. I remember when I first heard about Courage to Lead. And I heard about it because I was the CEO of an organization, and one of my senior staff came and said, "Oh, there's this Courage to Lead, and she's telling me all about it, and I'd really like to do it." Well, of course, you know, let me write you a letter or whatever we have to do. And you know, and she said, "You might like it too." "Oh, that's nice. I'm way too busy, but you go, and it'll be great." So that sort of lack of a tendency to sort of take care of your own self as the leader, I'm sure, is prevalent.
Absolutely. I think that's part of something that is really challenging for all of us at all levels working in the social sphere. The cause is so great that being able to budget time for the care and feeding of our staff, of our kind of core capacities, and certainly our own leadership arc sometimes aren't there. So if there's one thing that I think all of us at Leading from Within really want to advocate for, it's prioritizing budgeting for professional development.
Yes.
And leadership development and that type of planning and support, because most all the causes that we're working on aren't going to be completed. They're not going to be addressed and resolved
right.
A year or 2 years from now.
Yeah.
You know, this is a long game. So how do we make sure that we're healthy and capable and have a robust organization and team to do this? And so we lead by trying to offer different leadership development programs and supportive communities for leaders to be able to continue to offer their best and also help, ideally, make an impact in the culture of
yes.
leadership in our community. We want people to be able to be open, to be collaborative,
Yes.
to hold space for trying things and sometimes failing. That's innovation.
Yes.
Right? We have to be able to try things, be less judgmental, be more supportive. These are all kind of really big, broad concepts.
Yeah.
But we're extremely fortunate that after over 10 years of running Courage to Lead, 20 years of the Catherine Harvey Fellows Program, and we're in our 4th cohort of Leading for Community Impact. We're getting into the 6th cohort for the Emerging Leaders Program. We're in a position where with over 500 alumni, we can start to actually make positive shifts in the culture of the philanthropic and nonprofit community.
Yeah, that is so. So, all right, so here is Leading from Within, almost like an umbrella, and then under that are all these, so Courage to Lead, Emerging Leaders, Catherine Harvey Fellows, what?
And Leading for Community Impact.
Yeah, Leading for Community Impact. Is that relatively new?
It is our newest program.
Okay.
We are recruiting for our 4th cohort.
Golly.
And what's really important is whatever the program name, know that there's different emphasis and focus where we bring together a cohort of community leaders, usually for a year or more, to come together over that time span and to take on concepts that they can really reflect upon and then integrate into their work, right? So you and I participate in a program that's called Courage to Lead, which is really to help as a renewal program, to help encourage leaders who've already been doing this work, but to not lose heart and to kind of find their second wins.
Yeah.
For lack of a broad, to be simplistic about it. Our Emerging Leaders Program is more help kind of build some of that skill set, that confidence, and encouragement to take on increasing levels of responsibility and roles within their organizations or wherever their career might take them. And to be able to do this as a program where you've set aside time over a long span of a year and you have a cohort that's supporting you, that you're really bonding with, I think is really a meaningful vehicle to support individual leaders. And then of course we want to create a community of lifelong learning, where we always value new concepts, openness, and helping improve the entirety of the work that's being offered to this community.
And so what is the focus for, what did you call it, Leading for Impact?
Yeah, so Leading for Community Impact.
Community Impact.
Is a program that is based in Santa Maria. And it serves leaders for northern Santa Barbara County, so specifically Santa Maria, Lompoc Valley, San Ynez Valley. And that program is really addressing a need where there hasn't been as much investment in leadership for the social sector in northern Santa Barbara County. There's also not as robust networks of people being able to know each other, to rely on each other.
Oh, interesting.
And so launching a program and also an alumni community for northern Santa Barbara County, I think has been really important for us to make a contribution to organizations doing work and organizations starting, especially in the community of Santa Maria, which is now the largest and fastest growing city in our county.
Wow. So let's take Santa Maria. How do you go about sort of finding people that want to join the program or letting people know about it?
So all of our programs are invitational. So that means we make a lot of invitations. So we put for example, right now we're recruiting for Leading for Community Impact. Okay. And we're putting this out to the world, right? Yeah. We're putting it out as news releases. We're putting it out within the different nonprofit resource network, the Santa Barbara Foundation's Collaboration for Social Impact, the different outlets. We want people to hear about it, but we also want to ask people to consider. So this morning, I and a few of us, because I see all of our names and I see movement on a spreadsheet of 300 people, and we're talking to alumni and we're talking to different contacts that we have to try to make a personal ask. Who do you think, Cinder, that you've worked with could benefit from a year-long cohort-based leadership development program? And then as we start to get, either they reach out to those folks, maybe it's somebody that they work with directly, or an organization they work closely with, or as they refer names to us, we reach out, and we actually also this morning hosted an information session in Lompoc.
Wow.
So that people who we asked to come out can hear a little bit more about this offering, because it's not every day that you're offered a year-long leadership development opportunity.
Right.
And it's hard to make heads or tails of it. And so we have to kind of do the careful work of recruiting a cohort. And I think that it's a real special opportunity to be able to do. It's really cool to be in a position to communicate with people who are doing the work.
Yeah.
And to try to offer them something that can help them sustain that work and maybe even continue to step up their contribution and their roles in the community.
So how has your approach worked or changed now that the pandemic is a little bit subsided? And what were you doing before that with Zoom, I suppose? And
So as I mentioned, we're extremely fortunate to be where we are, that we have over 500 alumni from our programs. And we also, when we talk about the Leading from Within network, we actually like to think of kind of a affinity group of folks who may or may not have gone through our programs, but are interested in the type of offerings and the type of connections that we're trying to foster within the leadership of nonprofits and the social sector more broadly. And so we put all of our programs on pause. I'll get back to that in a moment. We were able to continue some programs, but we put everything on pause and we started focusing on what are the needs of the leaders in our network right now. Because people are facing, for many, the most challenging time in their careers.
Absolutely, absolutely.
One example of what we offered, and of course we weren't meeting in person, one example of what we offered was executive coaching. You know, in a lot of this type of work that we do around the country, great programs will look at all the different offerings that they can do, and one of the most significant is executive coaching. When you can have a thought partner to help you chew on maybe one of the biggest challenges that you've ever had to deal with, right? Or some recurring challenges that you just don't know how to move forward on, it can be transformative. And so we were able to support something like 70 of our leaders to do executive coaching to help work through some of the challenges that they were facing.
So a lot of the challenges, I'm sure, specifically had to do with the pivoting and being creative and what do I do now?
The range. We thought we did kind of do our best to do what we call sense making through the pandemic, because again, at the outset, it was very different than where people were at a month, 2-3 months in now. How many months are we? Right, 16 something.
Yeah,
right?
something like that.
And so we would do our best to kind of shift offerings. We had a number of different adaptive offerings that we would make via Zoom. We helped underwrite people through different meditation courses. We helped do different gatherings of alumni communities. We would bring different topics forward to engage in. We had a couple gatherings to celebrate leaders coming into the community. We had, in fact, as I call that for your book, we had a virtual book launch event.
That's right. I really appreciated that. That was fun.
But the types of challenges that people faced, in some sense, were a lot of the regular challenges that we've been through. That a lot of which just really got brought to the surface. So some challenges that people have been facing, like organizational culture and organizational challenges, weren't that different, just magnified once things switched to remote work / pandemic remote work, whatever you want to call it. And so, I think with the pandemic, to offer an opinion, I think what the pandemic largely did was really highlighted long-standing problems in our communities.
Gotcha.
It wasn't like a whole new set of problems that we never heard of or But instead, we realized some long-standing issues that we really need to take on, as is clear with this newfound push for civil rights and justice, diversity, equity, and inclusion and access. I mean, these things they're not new,
right?
But how important they are to take on, really got highlighted. To back up a second, I will say it's been quite an experience for all of us, and I'm so thankful to be in community with different social sector leaders like you and like so many to help each other through these challenges. One other really kind of key thing that kind of flies under the radar that I like to say that we do, but there's not a lot that we actually need to do anymore, and that's what we call peer learning or leader circles. So I mentioned this coaching. Our programs like Courage to Lead, as you know, we've had our leader circles. So these are just peers that we're able to check in with. And we're supported to do this regularly and get together and not just chat, but in a real kind of methodical way, really deeply share what what we're struggling with. And not even get advice.
Right.
Just really to be heard.
Yeah.
Which sometimes is the best way to really process things.
You know, I still meet with my leader circle. In fact, we just set another date, and we meet on a regular basis, and look how long it's been.
How many years has that been then, right? Like, is that 7 years?
Something like that, yeah.
Right on. Yeah, that's very common, actually.
Yeah.
And that program started in Courage to Lead, and that was so beneficial that we've extended that and been doing trainings for all of our different alumni groups.
Yeah.
So that those peer learning experiences are something that we've been able to offer through, and of course this happened fairly well over Zoom.
Yes, yes.
Not for everybody, but for a lot of folks.
Yeah.
And we've been able to offer that as a sort of offering where we can support something, but really it's peers supporting peers throughout the pandemic.
Gosh. So, okay, we're coming up to the end of our interview, but I'm wondering if there's anything else that you'd like to share. Like, let's just say someone's listening and they say, that sounds good. I wonder how I could get involved. How could I find out more information?
Well, great. Leading from Within, 3 separate words with hyphens, leadingfromwithin.org. We'll try to put something on the video here.
Yeah, we will.
And going onto that main site, you can see our different programs and you can see our other offerings, and helping make a connection of offerings that we're putting out to the community, to community leaders who could really benefit from them. That would be a great way to get involved, to join us at some of the different info sessions or upcoming events that we'll have. You know, the interesting thing about Leading from Within is we're not trying to broadcast our message.
Right.
We're backstage.
Yeah.
We're here to support organizations like so many that you're interviewing that are doing amazing work in the community.
Yeah.
And we really are just here to be the professional and leadership development kind of arm to support their work.
And what a blessing you are to so many people, and more to come. Thank you so much, Ed, for being with us and for your leadership and all the good work that you do.
Thank you, Cinder, for the opportunity and for all that you do.
And thank you for joining us on 805 Focus, and we'll see you next time.